Hey, this is Chris at Art Secret Studio, and we're inside of Plaza Art, and I'm here going over some of the papers and different things that we're using. And right now I want to talk about the Strathmore 300 series paper. Immediately when you're in the store, there's going to be a series of papers, the 300, the 400, and the 500 series papers. For me, the 300 series paper is very forgiving. When I draw with charcoal, as long as I don't press too hard with my fingers, rubbing the charcoal into the fibers of the paper and just let the fiber sit on top, it erases well. The problem with the 300 paper is not as bright white as the 400 paper, so it's not going to have that pop. It's not going to have that contrast that the 400 series will have. Well, but the problem with the 400 series paper is it doesn't erase as well. So there's a give and a take. So when I'm doing sketches and I'm working out my ideas, or I'm in a class and I'm having to do things fast, 300 is fantastic. It does everything I need it to do. The 400 is really for at home in the studio when you're going to be more deliberate, you're going to be a little more careful, and you're just going to say, okay, the whites are precious and I'm going to save them for later. The 500 series, wow, you better believe the white's not erasing, but you're getting a museum quality paper. You're getting something that has very little acid in it. I'm not sure whether the Strathmore 500 series has lignin in it that makes it total 100% acid free, like a paper like Reeves or Fabriano, where you buy it by the sheet and it's 100% cotton. That's lignin free, which is where the acid actually originates from. So I want to go over the Strathmore 300 series paper and just start to make some marks on charcoal with it. It doesn't have a lot of tooth. So if I take some powdered charcoal and some nylon cotton ball with 3 cotton balls in it and nylon material, and I dip it into my powdered charcoal, and I like to use General's powdered charcoal. Anyone will work. The cheapest is better. It's just ground up charcoal, and I make marks on it, and I can draw with it, and I can do my scene, and I can play with it, and it helps me block in the painting, makes it wonderful, and I'm composing it. I think this is a scene from where my nephew and I went fly fishing in Yellowstone, and there's a house off in the distance. Or I can take vine charcoal and I can draw some trees into it, and those are trees, folks. And then I could take the tree and I could take the willow charcoal, or take the stump and go over it if I think it's too strong or not enough. I can take my eraser or my kneaded thing and I just start to draw in it. There's my house there. Now you know what I'm drawing in. There's a river here. There you go. And there are some trees here and whatever it is. So I can soften my lines with my stump, break up some of these areas. But what happens when I need to erase? I take a kneaded eraser. Now I'm a big fan of I'm a big fan of Prismacolor's kneaded eraser, and I keep it in this pill box from Amazon that keeps it moist and clean when I'm not using it. So now when I erase, if I decide that maybe this tree needs to be lighter, all of a sudden I can erase with this paper, where I have trouble doing that with the 400 series paper. It does erase, but not as much. So I'm a big fan of the 300 sketch pad eraser, because it lets me literally take my eraser and draw with it, and I can press harder and I can press lighter, and it has a lot of latitude. So 300 series paper, there's a reason it's forgiving.